Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is another Thursday, and we are ready to run with scissors today. It is perfectly safe. I promise you, we're going to have some fun with paper and ink and put together a fabulous card with this month's Stamp Focus stamp set, the Layered Cupcake by Altenew. So I'm so glad to see a whole bunch of you out there. If you are new to my channel, and this is your first time with the live stream, go ahead and say hi in the comments and give me a little shout out. Tell me where you're from. We always like to know what the weather's like, so you can share that too. So hello to all of my regulars. I'm so glad to see you out there. I see some of you have your stamps have arrived, so you can play along with us today and work on creating some great projects. So I've got some announcements. Let's get started with those as you start to roll in so we can get to the crafting real quick here. Okay, so first announcements. So as you know, our March Stamp Focus set is the Altenew Layered Cupcakes. We are using that stamp set all month. If you've not seen that stamp set, there is a link down below to all of the products used today. And that is one of those links. Those are affiliate links. So if you do use those, I may receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. So thank you for your support in using those links. It's very easy to do. Just click and shop. Okay, so of course, I always do a virtual private workshop at the end of every month, and we will be using that same stamp set. So if you want to join in on that workshop, it is, I still have some seats available for the live workshop, which will be on March 24th. That's a Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. US Central Time. I tried to pick a time that would be good for some of our folks overseas and down under, and also here in the United States. I know it's a little early for you out in Australia, but I really appreciate that you joined us last month, Penny, and you'll be back this month too. So totally awesome. But if you can't make it live, there will be a replay available, and I will also have that up later in the month, next month, for you to jump on board with that workshop if you missed it and you want to join in. I'll be doing that with the other workshops that I've started this year. I just haven't gotten around to getting those set up, but I hope to have that done in the next week for you. So anyway, that's what's going on with our March workshop. I do have a new sketch starter out there. So as a part of my work with Altenew and the sketch starter video series, I do a monthly challenge out on my blog. It's called the Sketch Starter Challenge. I provide you with 3 sketches, and you can pick from all 3 or create a card from each of them. However you want to do it, you can enter as many times as you like. I randomly select a winner each month, and that person wins a $15 gift certificate to Altenew to have a little bit of retail therapy. So check that out and join in. There's still plenty of time, but of course you don't want to wait too long. We'd love to have you join though. So check that out. There's a link below, of course, in my description for that as well. So today we've got a little bit of an announcement. So I've got my April stamp set for our April stamp focus all picked out. And this was a stamp set that people really seemed to like. It was a part of the survey that I had along with last month's giveaway. And it was really interesting to see what you guys liked. And I was kind of excited about this one. And it's a really interesting set. So it's called Just Because. It's by Concord and Ninth. And it is a great set. I'm going to split to my hands real quick here so we can take a look at it. So here is the stamp set. It's got some really cool background pieces, some grungy dots. I love this kind of distressed kind of stuff in here. Some really nice florals and some great sentiments. And of course the die set, it's got the because and the because in 2 different formats. So a script and a all caps, and then the word just. It's got a frame. Now this frame is a thin frame, so it will do a rectangle, but it's also going to cut out that thin rectangle as well, so you can get that really super thin border. There is a little flag ended banner here, and that will fit these teeny tiny sentiments, this like you inspire me, my life is better, etc. So those all fit inside of this little banner. But the interesting thing about this is that these 3 floral bits here, 1, 2, 3, they do not match these florals, 1, 2, 3, and or in the flower too, so 4. So these 4 things really don't match. They are designed that way on purpose so that you can mix and match stamped images with die cut images to create different looks. So you can see, like if I take this and I try to match that up here, it just really doesn't fit. It's not it's not perfect. It's not going to fit that particular stamp. It comes close, but not quite. But what it does is it gives you a little bit of variation, and it looks really good together. So what I noticed when I was putting together my samples for next month, all of our classes and our live streams, I used the dies a lot. I think they are a really, really great addition to your stamp stash. To create just some really nice background florals that are colored or glittery or whatever. They work out really well to make some beautiful arrangements. So that is our stamp set of the month. So our stamp focus stamp set for next month. Concord and Ninths, just because. Now, I will tell you that our stamp set for May, oh my gosh, is also going to be a Concord and Ninth set. And I'll talk about that more next week because I'll actually have it in my hands, but it's their new Turnabout starter kit. And I love the Turnabouts. I just haven't used them much, but I just absolutely love them. Every time they come out with a new Turnabout, I really love that kind of concept where you just turn your cardstock and you can get the pattern all the way around in different colors, and you can do different techniques and things. So we're going to use the Turnabouts in May. And the nice thing about the starter set is that it comes with 4 mini ink cubes from the Concord and Ninth color set. And there's also a coordinating paper pack. So I will tell you a little bit more about that next week. But if you are going to join me for the live stream and the virtual workshops next month, I would recommend that you get not only this stamp set and die set, but that you also get the Turnabout starter kit. So that way you'll have the coordinating inks, which I'll be using across both months. And then you'll be ready to go for May as well. So I will tell you more about that next month when I have it in hand and I can show you all the pieces and parts in that. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. Hello to everybody that is joining. So we're just going through some quick announcements before we get to today's project. So along with the Stamp Focus stamp set announcement, of course, there is a giveaway, and that is up pinned up to the top of the live chat. And I'm not sure if I added it to the description yet, but if not, I will do that right after today's episode. So that giveaway is open for the next 2 weeks. The more you share and the more you like, the more entries you will receive. So please share and let everybody know about all the great things that we're doing over on this channel and the fun that we're having each week creating together and learning new techniques and having fun with all of these stamp sets. So that is, oh, it says it's closed. Well, let me take a look at it, Roberta. Because I can do that. I just need my keyboard. Maybe I put the wrong, it says it's open. So I bet you I put in the wrong link. Let me grab the link. Oh, it should be the right link. Okay, so let me try this again. Oh yes, I did. I put the wrong link in my pinned message. So let me remove that message and do this over again. So today's supplies. Thanks, Roberta, for pointing that out. I want you guys to have the same. I want you guys to have the chance. Gift card. Yeah, so it should have the words gift card in it. There we go. Okay, so that should be the right one. Thank you so much. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so that is out there. And you guys can sign up for that giveaway. I am doing a $25 gift certificate to Concord and Ninth, so you can pick out the products that you need from them. Okay, and then of course, as usual, I totally appreciate every time you use my affiliate links to shop. It's an easy way to show your support for this channel at no additional cost to you. So when you click on those links and you shop, I may receive a small commission. If you go and you click on somebody else's links before you close out your cart at a particular shop, that next person is going to get the commission. So that's just kind of a quick and simple way to know about how those links work. So all of the links that are out on my blog and the links that I put down in the description below, those are all affiliate links. So you just need to click on any link and it will take you to the store and set you up with me as your crafty friend that you're shopping with. And that's it. You don't even have to buy the product that you've clicked on. It will just set it for your entire shopping session and we'll be good to go. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so hey, let's talk about some cards to share. Okay, so last week we did an awesome project with the layered cupcake where we created a gift card holder that had the acetate piece at the bottom. And I had 2 people that shared their cards out with us. So the first person was Ann Taylor, and she made this beautiful card with, I love this marbly washi tape. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So it is really, really pretty. And I love the way that she added in the gold and everything. It just looks really fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing, Anne. I appreciate it. And then Cece, she shared over on the Altenew fan group page her project. And she shared some multiple pictures. So I'm going to cycle through these. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this. I don't know, Cece, I know you're out there today. Is this washi tape or did you blend this? Because if you blended it, it's absolutely gorgeous. If you use washi tape, it's equally as gorgeous. So I love them both. But let's take some closer look. So she gave us a closer look of her heat embossing, which is beautiful. And then also a look at that acetate piece, which is fantastic. Good photography too. Excellent way to show off that that acetate piece is there in place. And then you've got the stripe underneath. So it looks absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much, Cece, for sharing with us. And, oh, you blended it. That you did a gorgeous, gorgeous job. Absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much. Now, the first person to share her project was Anne. So Anne is going to receive my card from last week in the mail. And she will have a lot of fun with that, being able to send that out to a friend. Okay, so, or family, because, you know, that's a gift card thing. So you might want to save that for family when you need to send out a gift card for a birthday. All right, so let's get on to some crafting. Big empty space. Okay, so I actually have everything stamped out already because, well, because I just do. Because I had stamped out 2 of the cupcakes when I was working on the sample project. And then these floral pieces from the Bergenia builder, I don't have the die for them. So I had to use my, my scan and cut to cut these out. And it did a great job. I mean, check those out. I'm so very happy with the way that it turned out. So in order to get the scan and cut to cut these pieces that have like open ends, I had to just put a little pencil line there and it cut them out perfectly. So, but I didn't want to spend the time while I was here with you guys to step over, cut them out, blah, blah, blah. So there we go. I think I blipped for a minute there. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I was watching it happen on my end here. Ooh, I hope not. So anyway, I cut these guys out with my scan and cut. I was very happy with the way they turned out. They look fabulous. So we're going to combine the Bergenia builder, just some of the floral bits from it. So I just stamped these all out and die cut them, or used my scan and cut to cut them out. No, absolutely not. You do not have to put the flowers on. Of course, the challenge when you guys are crafting along with me here, you don't even have to have this stamp set or these products. You just need to be inspired. Perhaps you're inspired by the layout or the colors that I used or whatever. It's just to get you started with, you know, just crafting and doing the projects along with us. So if you're inspired by the layout, create with something completely different and just post it and say, hey, I was inspired by today's live stream and this is what I made. That's all you have to do, Roberta. So you're good to go. Okay, so Bergenia builder. Like I said, I'm using these flowers here, which I already have stamped out. This is stamped on plain white cardstock. Okay. And then I have the Altenew layered cupcake, just the cupcake line image stamped out as well. So I'm just going to grab my die out of here because I'm going to need that later. All right, so those are the only things I'm going to use. And then I've got my sentiment, which actually I'm going to need to stamp. And the last thing that I'm using is the bubble wrap stencil. Okay, and this is going to be a really unique way to use the stencil, and I think you're going to enjoy. Okay, so let's see what today's card is. I love this card. It is glittery and shimmery, very, very feminine. If you wanted to change up the colors a bit, you could make it masculine, but it's got the flowers on it, so the guy should like flowers for sure. Okay, but it's got these really cool gold splotches on it. All right, I use the little rounded sentiment, and it's just all sorts of shimmery awesomeness. And I am using the Metallic Watercolors. So last month in our virtual workshop, we used the Metallic Watercolors. And so today I thought, hey, I'll pull these out and show you guys another project to use this with. Okay, so the colors I'm going to use are Rose Quartz, Gold Pearl, and I'm going to come over here and use Aquamarine and Prasiolite. All right, so those are the colors I'm using. Rose Quartz, Gold Pearl, Prasiolite, and Aquamarine. Okay, so this is just water. I like to just do some drops of water in there to get those activated. All right, and then we're going to do some watercoloring. Okay, so this is my card base here, but I think what I'm going to do is leave these guys kind of on the base so you can see as I'm going. Actually, no, because I don't want to mess up my card base. And one of my drawers broke, which is probably that big clunk that you heard. And it just has one of those center supports, and they like to come off. So I need to fix that this weekend. All right. There we go. This will be okay. And I'm going to zoom us in a little bit here so you can see how I'm going to color these. There we go. We're zoomed in. Super zoom. Okay, so I have some water here. I've got my watercolors ready to go. Let me pop them out. Okay, so let's get started. So with the flowers and even with the cupcake, we're going to do kind of the same technique. Here's the thing. I'm using regular paper. It works well with the metallic watercolors as long as you're not going too crazy with it, which I tend not to do. I like to get just a nice little blush of color. So I'm going to start off with our rose gold here. And I have a paper, or not a paper towel, a rag over here that I'm going to wipe off on so that I don't grab too much. All right, and I'm just going to do like these little dots, basically. Just some dots. Some happy little dots. All right, and then come back with a clean brush that I've wiped off and just feather these little edges out. So that's going to get me a metallic look that's going to spread out pretty far, but it's not going to like totally take over the entire flower. All right, and that's all there is to it. So you just have to come back and like, I'm going to add in some gold into the centers, but I'll come back and do that after I've done all of this rose gold. So just little dots, little swishes, nothing, nothing difficult. I'm not trying to make all sorts of little turns and twists and things on these petals. I just want to give them a little blush of color. All right, so that clean brush coming back in and spreading it out on the cardstock. Now, again, this is on just plain white cardstock. It's not on watercolor paper. You could totally do this on watercolor paper if you want. I find that the metallic watercolors, though, don't pill up the paper for whatever reason. So it works pretty nice. That's why you can use black cardstock with these watercolors and get good results. You don't need to have black watercolor paper. It works out pretty well. Let's see. Yeah, Roberta, I second your comment there. The Papered Chef, she does have some good videos on the scan and cut for sure. I haven't used mine enough to know, so I really haven't been able to make any good videos on it yet. All right, so I'm actually coloring more than I need here because I really only am going to use like 3 of these. But this gives me options. All right, and then I have one more little one here. When you're using regular cardstock with this, with these ink watercolors, excuse me, you're never going to do a wet on wet technique because that would be too much water. Always a wet on dry technique and using your water very sparingly. All right, so I've got those done. Actually, I am going to pull in my cupcake now since I already have the rose gold. So I'm going to make this into a rose gold topped cupcake. And I'm going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to put little bits of the rose gold on the outsides here where it would naturally, like as it's curving around, it would naturally get darker. All right, and then maybe a little bit underneath here. Okay, so now that I have the initial in place, I'm coming back with my clean and dried brush. And I'll just spread these edges a little bit. Now I did stamp this in obsidian black. So I have a really good base. You definitely don't want to use a water-based ink for this, for stamping the image. You want to use either an oil-based pigment ink or a permanent ink or a hybrid ink, something that's not going to react to the water after you've added that water. Or after you've stamped, I should say. All right, so to give this highs and lows, you want to keep your darker colors towards the edge. You also want to kind of like get some, like decide where you're going to have like little folds where you might see it underneath. So I think I might see like a little underneath here, and I might see a little underneath here, maybe a little underneath here. But you want to leave white. And so that's going to help give this the illusion that light is playing off of it. There we go. Once it's dry, you can always come back in and add a little bit more. So err on the side of less, and then come back and add in a little bit more. Wow, Teresa, that is a lot of that's a lot of scan and cut, but that's pretty cool. I'm glad that you did that. Yes, Paula, the painted petals. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. The Turnabout Kit from Concord and Ninth. Yep. Okay. So, you know, I'm going to leave this here just in case I need it. Let's add in some gold. So, like I said, we've got, what color is this? Gold Pearl. I'm just going to put another little bit on my palette here. And this is for our little stamen and pistils. And this I'm just, did you see what I did with my brush there? I went into the color and then I flattened it out so that it's basically like a long flat tip. I don't know that I'll be able to pick this up on the camera. Let's see if there, if it'll focus. It's just like a long flat edge. And that way I can use it like you would a pencil basically, and just draw it up on those little stamen and pistils and keep that nice and thin. You're going to go over the lines on it. That's okay. But we don't want it to be oversaturated. Oops, one more here. And then on the cupcake, I already have some on here because I was, like I said, this was from before I was practicing when I was putting my project together. But I am going to add just a little bit more to darken it up. So this I'll just fill in and make it a solid gold. Solid gold cupcake. That would be kind of hard on the teeth. Let's say it's just got some like edible luster dust on it. Yum. All right. So there we go. We are moving along with the coloring. Okay, so let's do our leaves next, since this is the only two we've got here. So Light, yes, is a lovely shade of green. It's kind of like a minty blue green. If you want to make this a little bit more green, I would add in just a little bit of the aquamarine. Kind of give it a two-tone effect. A little, if you want to go just a hair darker, you can also add in some of the jade. All right, and then again, this is basically the same thing. This one I'm just kind of coloring in with some of the green. Let that sit there for just a second. All right, and then with a clean and damp brush, just going to feather out those edges. Remember, I mean, I will say this over and over again, we're using regular paper here, so you don't want to get too much water on it. It will bubble up eventually if you use too much water. All right, so that's good enough for those guys. All right, so these are done. There are a few bits of green on these. And I'm just going to color them in very lightly. It's a very light wash of this green. We just want to hint at it. All right, so there we go. Beautifully colored in. Set those off to the side. Okay, our cupcake. What color for our cupcake tin? So I used the aquamarine. If you were making this as a guy's card and you were going to do something different than the flowers, or you were going to still include the flowers but make it for a guy, you could of course change up your tin color. But I'm going to just stick with the aquamarine. And this is still pretty saturated. So I'm adding a lot of water because I want a very desaturated look to start with. What I'm going to do in this space right here is not put any color. All right, so you see that I skipped that whole little area right there. Okay, so when I come back in, do a little more saturated. These have like those little back and forth for your, the way that this fans back and forth, right? So you've got dark spots and light spots. So I'm going to take my brush here and take some of the darker green here and just color that one side in to give it that illusion of 3D. Now, at some point, they do kind of flip the other direction because you're looking at this straight on. So it's good to start from the other side. And you'll find this when we color it with artist markers. It's the same thing. So here again, I'm just trying to kind of skip this little section here, and that's going to give me an illusion of a little shadow. And there we go. So now what I have is some dark fins and some light fins, and then I've got like this little empty space here that's going to help make that look like there's a little bright spot there, like where the light is hitting. Okay. That one is good enough, ready to be cut out. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces colored. Let's do this background, which I know you're going to love. And actually, I just realized I did not cut myself a piece of cardstock for that. So let me do that. So, piece of cardstock that is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So the first thing I'm going to do is stamp the sentiment on here. So that way we know what we need to work around. And I forgot that we had to do that. So I'll use the same obsidian black. All right. Now, I'm going to use my die here to help guide this. So let me back out just for a minute to show you this. And then we'll zoom back in. Actually, I'll take this out because it likes to jump. So this is where I want my cupcake to kind of end up. All right. And then I'm going to take my sentiment. I'm going to use this rounded sentiment this time. Put this on here. So it's curved. If you really wanted to force it straight, you probably could. But when you're working with the curved sentiments, it's just best to just drop it and let it do its own curved thing. And we're just going to need to make sure that it's not like going too far this way or too far this way. Although, you know, if that's what the look you're going for, you could totally do that. All right, but I'm going to end up using the grid on here to make sure that it's in the right place. Okay, so I've got it down where I think it needs to go. And then I'm going to check the grid line. So the eye on the its is about touching this grid line here. And if I come all the way across, so is the exclamation point. So I know that this is pretty square on here. If I wanted to make an adjustment, now would be the time to do that, obviously. But I think we're pretty good. All right, so. And there you go. Now you've got your nice rounded sentiment. So it's important, A, to know where your image is going to end up, so that way you can, B, get your sentiment in the right place, and C, to use your grid to make sure that it is square all the way across, that your arc starts and ends on the same horizontal line. Okay, so that's it for that. Okay. Now that I've got this, I'm going to do this really cool background. All right, so Teresa talking about her experience with her scan and cut. That's pretty cool that she actually took this 2-day class from a group that worked for Brother. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so this is a piece of sticky sheet that I like to cut down. It's designed for like your Sizzix plates and things like that, but I just cut them down and use them for this kind of application when I want to do something on an entire background, but I also want it to get stuck in place. So I've got this stencil. This is the bubble wrap stencil from Altenew. And I'm going to kind of put it at an angle here. And I need a sponge dauber of all things. Right. So instead of using an ink for this, I thought I would use my watercolors. And it worked out pretty well. So I'm going to take my sponge dauber. I'm going to dab right into that gold. And even get it in some water here. All right, so you see I've got like a nice little gold slurry going on. I've got it on my sponge dauber. And now I'm going to just dab in these circles. So basically I'm using the stencil to help me align a row of circles that are evenly spaced. Don't have to worry about measuring or doing any kind of lines because the stencil is doing the work for me. And then I can skip over the ones that have the sentiment. Or, you know, just kind of dabble up on the side here. If I want to get some gold in there, I can. All right, I'm not concerned about the fact that I didn't get into the corners here, because you're not going to notice it after I pick it up. And that's it. So now I have a really cool background. Little sponge dauber, loose circles that are nice and evenly spaced. Done up in gold. It would look gorgeous in like any color. So actually, let me flip this over and just have fun for a minute. Let me show you a different color. So if I went into the green, actually now it's going to be green gold because I just mixed the two together. It'll be awesome. All right, you don't want them to be too wet, right? So like the green gold looks pretty awesome. If you wanted to, you could get some blue going on there. I didn't have the blue wet yet. You could do all sorts of really cool techniques with this. Get some really cool looks. So see how you get, whoa, sorry about that. There's some blue in here and it's nice and shimmery, the green. I mean, you would take your time, make sure you had your color already down, just like we did for the front here. But you could do it in any color and it'll look really, really cool. So there you go. Another way to use stencils. Holy moly. Love stencils. All right, guys. I'm glad you like the technique. Yeah, it's really cool. Of course, you could do this with and with any stencil. You don't just need to. You can't. It doesn't work with just circles. You could do it with any stencil, any of the shapes, any patterns. You could even use it with some. I bet you could do it with some of the builder stencils. You might want to use watercolor paper though. But at that point, you might just want to actually watercolor them. So, I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. All right. Card bases are ready to go. And we're going to pop this guy right on there. Yeah, it is a quick technique. And it dries pretty fast too, so that's a nice thing about it as well. The other thing about it is that it's kind of like a no fuss technique because you're not looking for perfect circles. You just want those hints of gold in a nice even spacing, right? So you can kind of see like the circles. You know how when you look at that circle pattern, sometimes you see like the little rosettes and things instead. But it's just nice to have that even spacing. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to draw lines. Right, since I was messing around on the back of it, it might be just a hair more wet than I wanted it to be. Okay, but that's good. Let's die cut this guy. This cupcake is great because it fits right through your mini blossom. So you don't need to have a big die cut machine for it. It's a good thing sometimes. So, and I meant to mention, Teresa, I'm so glad that you got the stamp set anyway, even though you're not big on cupcakes, because we're going to do lots of fun things with it this month. Okay. So when I am putting together an arrangement, I'm always putting it together dry first and then going ahead and putting things, gluing things down. Okay, so for example, so here's my sample card. If I want to do the same thing over again, oh my goodness, excuse me, I certainly could. So, you know, it's just a matter of popping a few of these babies in place, you know, and then I could be done with it. Or if I wanted to, I could start over. Since I made more flowers this time. You know, maybe I want to do a tighter grouping. I could totally do that. So, but I think I only did 2 leaves, so we're going to kind of leave those in the back. I like this guy here because it's big. Okay, so I could do like a tighter grouping with more flowers. So let's do that. Okay, so this one's like a little more spaced out. This one we're going to do a little tighter. Okay, so I'm going to start by gluing these down because these are going to go flat on the card. Sometimes I do the whole like press and seal technique where I grab it all up with a press and seal. Sometimes I just like, I think these are going to be close enough. Just going to put them down, see where they land. Okay, so here I can purposefully pulling this one past the edge here. And actually, before this dries completely, pull this past the edge too. All right, that's going to break up those lines. And that really gives your eye something else to look at. Okay, so there's that. Then, of course, the cupcake's going to go here. So just on the right side, I'm going to add my adhesive on this. This is so cute. It's very classy with the with just the metallics because it's such a soft look, and then you've got that little bit of shimmer. It just looks really, really nice. If you change the sentiment up, you could do any kind of congratulations. You could even do like, this would even be pretty, like wedding keeps coming to mind. I think it would look nice for a wedding card. Okay, so then I'm going to take my other flower and kind of tuck that right back behind. All right, so basically this is almost the same, but then I added more flowers in the back and kind of squinched it closer together. So now that's going to pop up on top. Grab my foam strips. And that's it. Super awesome. So I'm glad you guys like this card. Yeah, it's really, really pretty. It gives this whole set a totally different look. And, you know, maybe it would be more appealing to folks. It's not, it doesn't have to be like a cartoony layered look, right? When you do coloring techniques like this, it really can bring a stamp set to life in a different way. There. So that's it. What was I going to say? I don't remember. There's something about stamping the outline images. Oh, one thing that I did want to point out is that if you're pairing this cupcake with another image, what you want to do, and I did a sketch starter video on this recently, you need to look for stamps that have similar properties to them. So because the line art, you know, this is a layering stamp, but it has line art. So you would be able to match it up with another stamp set that has line art, but you want to make sure that the line art is similar. So on the cupcake, of course, the line is thin and it's even all the way around. There's no like thick lines and thin lines. They're all thin lines, and that's all there is to that line art. So when you look at the Bergenia, you can see too that it is just a thin line. The whole thing is outlined just with a thin line. There's no variation in the line. So these two stamp sets will work well together because of those properties, okay? So when you're looking for stamp sets, so Roberta, that's some tips for you is that if you're looking for a flower set to pair this with, just make sure that it has a thin outline and you'll have success every time with that. So there you go. All right, guys. And like that, we are almost hit the top of the hour here. There's about 10 minutes left, but that's it for today. That's the card. It was, you know, we didn't have to do the stamping because I already had it done. So that made it just a little bit easier. But anyway, hey, poof. Creativity in your pocket, ready to go. So if you were crafting along, don't forget to post your project and I will share your projects next week and we'll have a winner from this week's cards. I think so this month, because we started with the whole first person to post thing, we'll continue on with that, but next month I might switch it up a little bit and just give you all month to work on it. I don't know. It's hard to say because I know that some of you can't craft while you're watching and you'll do it later. So you're like, oh, I'm never going to win, so I'm not going to share, but I want you to share. So maybe I'll open it up just a little bit and say, hey, you know, as long as you've crafted it sometime in that week, and then I'll randomly select, maybe that would be better. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's project and that you're having fun with your stamp set. And we will be back next week with some more fun. So don't forget about all of the announcements and things from earlier. If you didn't catch that, please do go ahead and catch up. And I will be back here with you again next week for another awesome project with this month's Stamp Focus set. So thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up on your way out. And I will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend and stay crafty.